We do love you, Leeds. Hey up, everyone. Welcome back to Imagine Not Being Leeds for your Leeds v Bristol City review. I'm so delighted to be joined by my good friend Sam Klein, who we've been speaking to for the last few months and finally got you on, buddy. How are you doing?
Yeah, really good. I was just going to say, you're going to have to update that intro video at some point. Stadium, but little catchy song there. Love it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
No, good to
cool.
be on, man. Appreciate you having me on, Matty. Love
No,
the
I,
channel.
I, I love it, mate. Say we speak, we have message back and forth, don't we? Around in and around games every week now, and it's been very positive since we've known each other. Really, it's been we've been pushing that Premier League, towards that Premier League, and now we're there, mate. And it's all we're one win away from title now, but it's been an amazing season. A few dips in form, Sam, but on the whole, it's been relatively good couple of years, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I think obviously I was down at Wembley myself. Me and my old man were down there actually. Actually, that was one of the last sort of moments where I was like, we're really going to have to rebuild and start from scratch. But horrible day out. But I just felt like give Fark another year and put something together special. And yeah, we've come out the other side, which is it's the ups and downs, isn't it? We're all used to that now. So yeah,
we are, mate. I mean, he's had to build two squads, hasn't he, really, the last 2 years? We lost all the ones after we got relegated for Premier League. He built a really competitive squad for that first season, just missed out, just shy of it. Still a decent season, 90 points, and then he's had to do the same again for this season. And I reckon he's got the balance a little bit better. I think his defence is a lot more solid this year. As attack, it speaks for itself. I think it's 92 goals we've scored now. We're not relying on Somerville and Rutter like last season. There's a lot more balance in there. There's goals coming from everywhere. It's fullbacks get forward with goals and assists. It's a really exciting brand of football we're playing at the minute, and goals can come from everywhere, can't they, Sam?
Yeah, that's it. I think last year we were kind of very reliant on certain individual sort of quality. This year it's kind of nice to see the goals being spread out, the effectiveness of the wingers and the wing backs. I mean, I know we're going to touch on some of the performances, but I think Bogle and Firpo, coming down on those wings along with the two wingers as well. I mean, Ramazani hasn't been able to get in the team. I mean, that says it all. Look at last night, comes on and gets 2 goals. Imagine if he played every single game. So yeah, I still think there's certain areas where we need to strengthen. I mean, I'm a critic of certain players, especially in that number 10. Maybe we'll mention names in a bit. But I mean, I'm glad we got the job done. Can we go on and win the title, though? That's the next aim.
Well, it's a nice fixture to have in it. I know it's a bit of a way for lads to travel and fella fans to travel, but away at Plymouth and they're already relegated. Don't get me wrong, they've got, sometimes that can play into their hands, just pressures off. But the pressure's off Leeds United. You saw that yesterday. I think they want to win title 100%. They'll be feeling that they do want to win title, but the pressure definitely feels like it's lifted. Sealing that win against Stoke, what got us promoted ultimately that day. The lads without pressure, because I think the only thing that really makes Leeds United suffer me is that pressure, that weight of that shirt. I think, this level for the last 2 seasons, the quality's there. It's never in doubt. It's just, when the tough gets going, can Leeds get going? And sometimes it weighs heavy, doesn't it? It's such an heavy badge, Sam. Such an heavy badge.
I think it goes even further than that. Like me and my old man, we always talk about it. It's also when you're going to these away grounds, it's their biggest game of the season. So, we're Portsmouth away. I mean, you saw the atmosphere sell out. I always do the statistics. I always look at the stats and they're always sold out before Leeds are in town. It's the big game for them. And, the TV moves the fixtures and the different kickoff times. There's so many different layers to being a Leeds, being part of the Leeds United camp rather than being on other teams. So for me, I think there's so many factors that went into it. So you've got to give it hats off. I mean, this year is, it's been incredible. I still can't believe it. I just watched the highlights again. I can't stop watching it. Unbelievable.
I've just done the same, mate, and say we'll get into it. Let's just get with this. Well done, under 21s cup winners tonight.
Yeah, saw that.
Brilliant. Harry Gray got on the score sheet as well, which is good. Honestly, just what a legend. 16, 17-year-old just living all our dreams, really, innit?
Question for you though, Matty. Where do you see him fitting in though next year? Like, do you think he breaks in, or do you think he goes out on like? Because how do you develop a player like that? How does
it's so difficult at that age, isn't it, to expect him to go play Premier League football? It's such a difficult one, but I think maybe a year on fringes, maybe on bench, maybe he gets minutes. It's hard to believe, it really is, but I don't know. Is he too good for under 21s? It looks like he's too good for that level already. Alone, maybe, but pulling it out.
Look at Matteo Joseph. You don't want to have another Joseph situation.
I think he has to go on loan. I think he has to go on loan. But then does Harry Gray sort of replace him as that bench option? But it's so difficult because if he sits on bench, he gets no minutes. It's a waste, really. Could he go out and be scoring goals at a League One level, a low Championship level potentially? But it's still only a kid. It's so hard to. He's just beyond his years. We're not used to seeing this. He's so beyond his years. He's probably two or 3 years ahead of the curve already, and all we're hearing is how good he is. He's better than his brother, and we've seen how good his brother's been. So It's a great time. It's a conveyor belt of talent at Leeds, isn't it? You know, and you know what problem is, Sam? Over years, we've had to sell these people, we've had to sell these kids, and I know we did with Archie Gray. You'd like to think the way the club's going now, people like Harry Gray and people that come after him can be here to stay for the long term at Leeds United because we can bring them what they need, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it. Exactly. It's like build on the project and like, you know, buy into the depth of the youth. But I was going to say as well, I don't know, what division are we now in with the under-21s? Are we in the first, are we the Premier League 2, right? I think
Premier League 2, I think it is, mate. Yeah.
Premier League 2, yeah. So again, he's probably above that quality level, isn't he? So
you would suggest so, 100%. Yeah. No, it is for next year. 100% is, but I'm sure he'd be quite happy sitting on our bench for the season in the Premier League. I don't think he'll mind at that age. What were you doing at 16, 17-year-old?
Cool. I think I was driving around in my car, picking up women, like trying to go out on dates. I don't know about you.
Oh, mate, no, just I didn't have the little ladies, mate. Just probably kicking the ball against the wall somewhere, dreaming of being the next Harry Gray. That's probably where I was.
Have you ever done this? Sorry, Greg, you go ahead. No, I was going to say, I dream about running onto the Ellen Road pitch quite often, actually. Yeah,
all the time. It's what you do dream of, yeah. Like I said, not even sure you can loan any player under 18. I mean, that throws something else into it if you can't even loan him out before he's 18, which is possible. So yeah, it might be a year sat on bench, but I don't mind that either, to be fair. So let's get into it. Yesterday's game, it was an unchanged side, Sam, from the previous couple of games. Dan James out, Rothwell out. Don't really know if they're back for Plymouth either. The press conferences sort of haven't touched on these players recently, so I don't even know if they're back for Plymouth. But the lineup was sort of spoke for itself. Whether you agree with the 10 position or not, it would always going to be Aronson in there if James is out, not on that right. He's serviceable in that 10 role. He's not one of my favourite players either, as Aronson. But I think yesterday one of his better games. I think he did all right. So yeah, I mean, take us through the game, mate. How did you feel the game yesterday? Were you standout performers, the goals? What do you reckon?
Yeah, it was a really weird one because at first I was kind of thinking, are we on the beach? Is it kind of like a pre-season friendly kind of vibe to it? Yeah. But the control, the rate of play was pretty good. You know, I mean, what are they, 4th in the league, and we're making them look like fifth, enough. Yeah, 5th in the league, and we're making them look like nothing. So it shows the level of difference between where we are and where the playoff teams are. I still believe like some of the performances were great. I thought, Firpo was bombing up and down, and I thought, do you know what? I thought Solomon gave his all. And I think he was searching for that 10th goal of the season. I know he's got like 20 GNA, but I think the 10th goal for him would have been something special.
Yeah,
I really believe that. So, but I think he was trying a bit too hard. But you could look all over the pitch. I thought Tanaka was brilliant, and I also thought Gruev. I thought he was brilliant.
Outstanding.
I thought he was excellent.
Mate, they complement each other so well, to be fair. I mean, Gruev's is a bit of a strange one because I feel like he only ever really gets a look in when there's either A, injuries, or B, he wants to be defensively solid away from home. He doesn't really get the glitz and glamour of, right, you're playing, a lower side at home, go play football. It's always his there to do a solid job, make sure we don't concede away from home, or he's just in when there's injuries. But he's so much better than that. He's such an underrated player. And in a game like yesterday, you saw that ball for Ramazani. Obviously, we're sort of jumping ahead here, but that ball for Ramazani, the run by Ramazani, but to see it, it's not something you see a lot from Leeds, Sam. We're very much down the flanks. You don't see that ball over top. But when we've played it this season, we've seen Pirro getting behind with Ampadu playing balls over top. Gruev, that was outstanding to pick him out. And it ran a sixpence. He ran, touched it and buried it, didn't he? And Gruev's got so much more to his game than just side to side and back to back. And he showed it there with that pass. It was a really, really good ball, mate.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's because he's playing next to Tanaka and it's made him feel a bit more comfortable. I don't know if it's like they just struck up a good partnership. But I must say as well, just touching on that as well with Ampadu, I think Ampadu coming back into the defence. And I'm a fan of Struijk, but I really do believe that Ampadu, Roden, and the effect that he has when he brings the ball out there, Ampadu, he can really see the pitch. He has a bit more time. I think it works perfectly for us this year anyway. I don't know about going into the Prem.
I'm glad you said that. I think at this level, I think Ampadu's very good at centre half. I think when we go into Prem, I mean, there's even some people saying he's not a Prem player at all, which I think people have to get their head around the fact Ampadu, I reckon, will be captain and starting in the centre midfield. I think defensively at the back, I don't think he'd be tall enough, strong enough in air against some centre forwards in the Prem. So we'll have to really upgrade. We're going to have to upgrade in loads of areas, aren't we? But I think we've seen whenever he steps in there, we always say on this channel, mate, Rodon plays his best football next to Ampadu. They complement each other so well, the Wales connection. They're just comfortable with each other out there. I'm a massive fan of Pascal Struijk. But for Rodon, Ampadu at this level has been his better partner, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what it is? I think there's something in the kind of the Welsh lads kind of see each other a bit more, maybe potentially, or they have like a group chat, something like that. And you can just kind of see that they're on and off the pitch. There's a little bit more. It's kind of like you want to help your friend out a little bit more, from the same kind of background, and I can kind of see that. But I think yeah, this year it's worked well, but it's a stopgap between us getting up, and I think yeah, there's definitely going to have to be some movement there. I know we're being linked with quite a few players at the moment, but it'll be interesting to see. Is Strike out of contract? He's not out of contract.
No.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Does he want to sit on the bench next year? It's going to be really.
If you're thinking of bringing a top quality centre half, you'd probably think it'd be Strauch that maybe you'd expect Rodon to partner somebody, wouldn't you, out of the two? But I don't know, Farke doesn't like. I don't think Farke likes change too much, and I reckon there'll be. I was speaking to lads yesterday at game, and a lot of lads said, "Yeah, there's only a couple who'll start in that side. He'll have 7 or 8 key." I said there might be 7 or 8 new players, but I don't think they'll be starters. I think he'll struggle. I think to take some players out, will Farke. I believe, in my opinion.
Well, look, if we are talking about Farke still being here, I think it's going to be I think there's got to be massive investment. I'm on the side of investment, and I think you're looking at 5 to 6 starters that are needed next year. Don't get me wrong; it doesn't take anything away from what this team have achieved.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I think we do get a bit caught up. Like Thurpo, he's out of contract. He's had a great season. I want him to stay, of course I do. But at the same time, is he really capable in the Premier League?
Yeah, they pull at your heartstrings a bit, don't they? And I know with Firpo, we've seen what he's like in the Premier League. I'd like to think he's better now than he was. I know there's been a drop in level, so it's enhanced his qualities at this level. But I think he'll be a better player this time round. But what I will say is, when it comes to Firpo and obviously Bogle as well, I don't think we can play this way in the Premier League. Can you imagine playing with Firpo as a 9 and a Bogle as so high up as he is against more Salah? It's frightening to think of the way we play at this level. Going up a level, how are we going to cope?
Yeah, I think this is exactly it. But it's worked so well, and I think it's really back to the drawing board. I really believe it's a big summer. It's a really big summer.
Biggest summer in our recent history, mate. Even more than last time I went up. It's huge. It's absolutely huge with the investment in the stadium, which we'll go into soon. But they've got to get it right. We can't be a yo-yo club. We can't be that club. We've got to go up, cement it. I mean, don't get me wrong, Sam. It might be a couple of years of mediocre sort of results. But then you go again, don't you? And you build each year, bit by bit.
Yeah, absolutely. You look at your Brightons, your Bournemouths, Fulham. Even I've got a lot of friends who are Fulham fans, and you've got to say it's a job well done. They've cemented their place, and they're building, and they're pushing towards Europe. I think that's the way to look at it. I mean, you look at teams like Wolves this year. Look at the squad they've got. I know they've just suddenly gone on an absolute mad run. Everton as well, he came in and they obviously were more capable than what we believed. I thought they were going down at one point.
Me too.
So the gap between the teams that went up, I'll tell you, we really need to look at 5 or 6, 7 players this year. 7 players, starters. And if you're saying Farke is going to struggle with that worries me.
Yeah. I believe so. Don't get me wrong, he'll change some, but I find it hard to believe there'll only be 2 or 3 of them starting next season. Like my lads over yesterday, Ampadu won't start; he'll be on bench, and I just don't see
really.
It. Yeah, that's what they were saying yesterday. I wouldn't. I think he'll start. I think Ampadu will start. But a lot of people on this channel as well, a lot of subscribers don't fancy him as a starter next season. So I don't see him dropping a mainstay and captain from the starting lineup. I think he will be a mainstay. Him and Tanaka for me will be the 2, but then when you start looking at it, Sam, if they're the 2. If the wingers stay the same, your fullbacks may stay the same, definitely on one side, maybe change up left, but definitely one side. Then if all of a sudden he goes Rodon, Strauch, keeper, you might end up where I genuinely think the keeper, the 9 and the 10 will definitely change. Outside that, I aren't too sure there'll be much in terms of starting lineup. Do you know what I mean? That's in my opinion. Yeah, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't see much change.
I think there's surgery. I
hope so.
And I can't wait to come back and watch this. It'll be interesting to see. But I think there's going to be serious surgery. I think goalkeeper, I think centre-back, left-back. I think depending if we get Solomon back, it's going to be a left winger, depending if it's Solomon or not.
Yeah.
I think an attacking number 10 and a striker. So you're looking at that's 5 minimum starters. So that's how I see it. I think that's that side of the pitch. The left-hand side could be all different next year, depending on Firpo and Solomon staying.
Yeah, we need depth, don't we, mate, as well? It needs to be quality of depth, though, not just depth in general, because we have had a thin squad I feel like it's been forever, mate, even under Bielsa. I feel like we've never had a big squad. It's always been the last 3 or 4 players at squad have just been youth, squad numbers in 40s, Stan Chambers and Harry Gray. It's not a big squad, and I know Farke likes to deal with a smaller squad, but it needs to be a deeper squad, I think, as well for Prem, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, Matty, I would say Farke was quite similar to Bielsa in that kind of smaller squad, working with the smaller, tight-knit group of players. Very similar. But I think going into the Premier League and the beast that it is now, I think, what Bielsa did that first season, we got 9th, 56 points, I think it was, whatever. to get that kind of result again, I think we're going to need a much bigger squad. And you look at the bench that he had to work with there as well. I mean, I think this time that doesn't happen anymore.
No, I agree. Danny Amps doesn't start for me. He'll be squad players. A lot of people think that Pascal will be sold, I reckon, says Dr. Cox.
Wow.
Andy, if Leeds do become a yo-yo club, we keep Farker on speed dial. White State Bites over in New Zealand morning all. Oh, wait, it's evening here, hey up, mate. We need some big changes. We do. We'll have to see how it goes. We ain't going to be no yo-yo club. This could be another golden period for the club in years to come. Yeah, I think it's just no matter how we do next season, I don't want to say I take 17th. I always want to aim higher than that, but it's just about staying up and then building, like I say, bit by bit. And I think it's you know what it is? It's so difficult, Sam, to imagine the team that would go down in our place. Like I say, I went at the game yesterday. You know what we're like when you're at a game, having a beer, chatting with lads, and like you say Wolves, and you think, it's Wolverhampton Wanderers, but you look at their side and they've got, multiple 30, 40 million pound rated players. And it's going to be a side like a Wolves, a West Ham, who's going to have to go down in order for one of the promoted sides to stay up. And it just doesn't seem feasible. You've got Forest up in Champions League spots. They aren't going to be down there. And name who a few years ago would have been that. It's such a worrying prospect, although exciting at the same time,
Well, you missed out too as well. Obviously, Scum. You got Scum down there this year. And
I love that.
And you got Spurs. You got Spurs down there as well.
That's
so
nuts,
if you think about
though.
it, so they're obviously not going to be down there next year, right? Obviously, they're going to improve. So
yeah, of course.
Some other teams are going to be coming further down. I think, I actually, funny enough, I think Brighton are actually moving backwards, and I think you'll start to see teams like Brighton that start to struggle. Yeah, I do. I really do. I think there's only so often, I think every sort of 5-year cycle, these things of getting, quality signings in and doing that kind of sell-on thing. I don't think it always works long term.
No,
again, I could be wrong. But yeah, Pascal, it's interesting. A lot of people saying keep Hansa. I don't know. It'd be interesting.
Yeah, we'll Lee, Man U, Spurs, West Ham going down low. Yeah, we can hope, can't we? But we can hope. I tell you what, Spurs in 16's just wild, and obviously scum. I mean, I don't know if that's wild anymore. See them struggle. It's just become a bit of a.
And they could both win the Europa League. They could both win Europa League and be in the Champions League next year.
It's absolute madness, mate. Brighton, Bournemouth, and maybe Brentford in time. Yeah, I mean Brentford, they don't look as good as the ones did. Maybe. No, I don't know. Not for me anyway. Evening, Dilip. Hope you're well. Here's some links in the chat. Danny Rumsey's banged his channel in. Please check it out. Please check out Passion for Leeds Callum. Hey up, Brookie. Hope you're well, mate. Yeah, so going back to tomorrow's game, yesterday's game, buddy. I do this a lot. I get involved with chat, mate, and we go straight out of the review. But that first goal for Tanaka, how many times have we seen Solomon out wide, cutting on that right, either bang it in top corner or deliver the ball? Very similar chance, the goal Nanto scored against Stoke when he whipped it into that far post. His delivery of a ball, when he is on it, Solomon, it's unbelievable. You can see why he's a Premier League player. And it's the only thing has been his fitness. But the last few weeks, after I think he had a bit of a downward turn of form, maybe a month or so, he's kicked back into action again, as has Tanaka. And I thought yesterday, mate, Solomon were just outstanding. That, like I say, that assist for Tanaka, the finish by Tanaka, just to get us on the scoreboard early again, Sam, which is always important for Leeds at Ellen Road. It was such a good delivery. Honestly, I love Solomon. I can't speak highly enough of the guy.
Yeah, I think do you know what? It's funny because someone said today a lot of, when we sort of loan these players, when Leeds loan a player and they do really well, a lot of teams watch, right? So there's a lot of eyes that are going to be on him. And I actually think it's going to be, even if he wants to come back, I mean, hopefully he does, we're actually going to have our work cut out. And I think there could become a bidding war for him and it could go 20 plus and we actually might struggle.
And Levy loves that, doesn't he? Levy loves that at Tottenham.
Levy loves it. He's a shrewd businessman.
Yeah, he is.
And I think, if we can get him for around 15 million, I mean, I think you saw the class last night. I mean,
yeah, he did.
He was when he cuts in. And do you know what the best part of it is, Matty? You know what he's going to do, and he still does it and still beats his man. He's going to cut in and bend it around, and he still does it. Class.
Even when he picks ball up on halfway line, mate, they double up on him, and it does not matter. He tends to beat that first man every time. If he wants to beat a man, sometimes he'll get it, he'll play it back. But if he chooses to go, he goes, and he usually beats his man 9 times out of 10. Like when he's on form, mate, it's just like it's his pitch, and everyone else is just sort of just an imposter, and he just does what he wants. And for me, if you're talking 15, 20 million, which is what I've seen, I think he's falling in. What I've seen of him, I think he's sort of falling in love with it. We know his missus sort of persuaded him to come to Leeds as well, and if he's falling in love with it, and we can bid similar money to anybody else who's going to be in for him, then I think this loan spell's done us a world of good in getting him over the line. I think he'll be, in my opinion, I think he'll sign him next year, mate. I really do.
Yeah, I've got my missus working on a bit of recon with his missus. I've got her Instagram, so I'm going to try and get her to find out. So we'll see if we can get some info gossip going
Yes,
there.
mate.
But yeah, I did hear that they did fall in love with the city. But like I said, money talks, doesn't it?
Of course it does.
And it's both ways. But yeah, hopefully we're getting back. The question is, mate, what would his figures be? What is it, 20 GNA this year in the Championship? In the Premier League, what do you reckon? You half that and you go, okay, you get 5 goals, 5 assists, 10, 15 points.
Maybe, you know, I suppose it all hinges as well on who's a striker as well. Who's he picking out in box? He's picking Pirro out. I think Pirro will do all right in Prem, but I don't really want him as starting. I think he'll do all right, but whether he'd start, I don't know. So it depends who's going to be finding in that box. I think he's good enough easily for 5, 6, 7 goals and a similar number of assists. Yeah, you'd expect that that total to come down by maybe 5 or 6, wouldn't you, in terms of his overall GNA? But I think we've seen it at Tottenham. We saw it at Fulham against us a couple of times as well. He is top draw. It's just that fitness worry, which I think is probably fair around the 15, 20 million. I think that's what probably stops him being a 30, 35. We've seen worse players go for more money than what Solomon's probably going to go for. A lot worse players.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's still a good age. He's experienced. He's come through adversity, which I think is massive. You know, in your life as well, coming through adversity makes you stronger. He's come through that. He's had to drop down a division, which when you're a Premier League player, when you played in Europe and you play for your national side, having to drop down a division, I would assume pretty hard, a bit of a kick in teeth to get going. It took him a few weeks to get going. But boy, you know, he's shown what he's capable of, and he's probably right up there in top 5 players for Leeds this season overall in terms of everything, really. On the eye, the stats, everything backs it up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there was like a sort of 7 game period where he fell off a little bit, and I think he wasn't the only one. I think the team was kind of just a little bit faulting. But yeah, and my goodness, this last 5 games, it's been a joy, absolute joy, and I would love to see him put on the white shirt next year. And I think that would really, really help us on the left side.
100%, mate. Yeah, I mean, touching on that left-hand side as well, pal, you can't miss out Ramazani, can you? And Andy's put here, Matty, don't kid yourself. We all knew Ramazani was the GOAT. He only needed 10 minutes. Is that another nail towards a Farke demise? I mean, how do you sit on the whole Ramazani thing? Because I've been on, you know, I've had numerous chats with Joe Wayman on his channel. I've had numerous voice notes with Joe Wayman where it's got a little bit heated.
I love Joe.
I do, mate. We disagree heavily on this. With the whole Ramazani situation. I feel like he's been a little bit too harsh on Ramazani, although it hasn't mattered. We say it a lot of time on Late Night Leeds with Adam and Sean, and it hasn't impacted the season on a whole. There's been other decisions like, you know, Melier staying in too long and stuff that's hampered us points wise. I don't think playing Solomon over Ramazani's mattered at all. Solomon's been as good, if not better, than Ramazani, fair enough. But I think when you've got a player as talented as Ramazani, Sam, it's been a shame he hasn't been able to somehow find him in that side, because for me, not playing him hasn't given him a kick up arse, which then has led him to score 2 goals. I just think the quality's there. And he hasn't been doing it off the bench very often, granted. He did last night, and maybe we should have seen that more from him in these 20-minute spells. But what I will say is there's been times, mate, where he's been on bench for 5 games straight, 4 games straight, with no minutes. That's got to be difficult for a player when you've scored a couple of goals at Bernabeu, you've come in for decent money, you're expected to, you know, probably replace Somerville as that player. And up until the injury against Watford early on in the season, he looked every inch that player. And yeah, I just wanted your take on the whole Ramazani situation, how good he is, the season as a whole. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, it's a really good one. It's a big one that I've been thinking about a lot. And first of all, start of the season, wow. I mean, he was cutting in. He was on that left-hand side. He was scoring. He was assisting. He looked great. He had that. And do you know what I loved about him? He would get back. He actually would get back and track back and win the ball. So he was giving it his everything. The injury came at a bad time for him. And he lost his place in the team, fair and square. And that's what football's about, is how do you come back from it? And I think his journey back has been a little bit difficult. So we have to agree on that, like in terms of it hasn't been like a straightforward way back into the team. But yesterday showed his class. But one thing I would say about Ramazani, I think he's probably, and the chat might not like what I'm about to say, I think he's got more technical ability than Somerville. I actually think
I agree.
I think the technical ability of the boy, actually the ceiling is higher.
I agree.
The pace might not be as much as Somerville, but I think the technical ability is incredible. And I think if he's coached in the right way and he's utilised in the right way next year going into the Prem with a little bit more time on the ball, I think he could be fantastic. I actually genuinely believe he could be fantastic. I back him.
It's a strange one, mate, because I was saying this to lads yesterday again, and you know, when you look at Ramazani and you look at Nonto, Nonto especially his last 2 years, he hasn't been nowhere near the level we expected at the Championship level, considering how good he was in the Prem. Is it crazy to think a Ramazani and a Nonto, who haven't set the world alight really at this level, going up another level, could be better players in Prem? Because I actually genuinely think Nonto and Ramazani will look I don't know why. I think they'll look decent at that level. They won't look out of place considering they haven't really smashed it at this level for whatever reason.
I think Gnonto was better in the Prem. Like you saw those guys. Yeah, I was at the Spurs away game when Gnonto and Somerville, we teared it up. I think we lost 4-3 in the end. It was gutted. I mean, we were 3-2 up with like 10 minutes to go. Great game. But you saw the quality that they had. Gnonto had great quality. And I think you just have that little bit extra time on the ball. The difference in the Premier League is you have to be tactically astute, and you also have to, your passing accuracy has to be 100%. And sometimes that's where they might, that bit of quality might let them down. But I think overall, I think Gnonto and players like Ramazani, 100% next year, we back them. To have them on the bench, let's say you had Ramazani and Gnonto on the bench, that's strong. That's good strength. Good strength in there. We can't get rid of everyone. Can't get rid of everyone.
You can't, 100%.
So for me, I think we keep both of those. But you've got Dan James as well. We haven't even mentioned Dan James.
Player of the season for me, mate.
Really?
Yeah, for me.
Tanaka and Solomon, but yeah.
For me. Well, yeah, I mean, Dan James, Jayden Bogle's honestly so close as well. He's been outstanding. Then you say Solomon and Tanaka. Tanaka's probably most people's speaking to in chat and stuff every sort of stream. Tanaka comes out quite a lot, obviously. But yeah, for me, I think that right-hand side's been the reason. It set us apart. That right-hand side's been unreal. And I mean, get your tape, mate, while you're here. Like I say, it's a match reviewer yesterday. We'll keep dipping in and out of it, but we'll just go
Sorry,
right?
Yeah.
No, mate, I'm a sicker for it. I love it. What I'll say is the award ceremonies the other night. What were your take on Gus Hamer getting the player of the season over James Trafford, which wouldn't have been a bad shout because he's been outstanding in goal, but obviously our Dan James as well. Like, what do you make of that, Gus Hamer?
Yeah, I think there's some sort of like there's a fix going on there, right? We know being a Leeds fan, we're used to that. We're used to the referees, and we're used to the kickoff times. Nothing surprises me anymore. At the end of the day, I think we can walk away, and the stats will never go away. Which is, we look back on the season, we go, we had one. It's going to be 100 points potentially. 60 plus goal difference, all the stats are in our favor. We've written our own legacy and history here. This team has written history.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't let the Football League do what they want with awards. I think as Leeds fans, we know the truth. Just like when we won the European final, which my dad was at, but we didn't win because the referee stole it from us.
Oh, your dad there?
Yeah, my dad was there. Yeah. So you look back on it, and it's life of a Leeds fan. It's life of a Leeds fan. But I think ultimately, actually, I wanted to ask you just while we're on that. Gnonto with Bogle. Do you think Bogle and Gnonto works better with Dan James? Like Bogle actually gets forward more because Gnonto kind of comes inside.
Yeah. I don't know.
See what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do. I absolutely love Dan James and Bogle. But you know what I'd say? I'd just say it's slightly different, but there ain't no drop off. When Gnonto's on form, because don't get me wrong, he's had periods of season where he hasn't been able to get going. But when he's on form like last night, when you think how good James is, we're saying James is potentially player of the season. When the player comes in for him, there should be a little bit of a drop-off. There isn't. And what I'll say is it's down to Bogle for me. I think Bogle, he adapts his game to play well with both players because obviously Gnonto and James are very different players. Gnonto likes to cut inside. Dan James is very direct, sticks in his sort of lane. But I think with how good Bogle is as a player, he's smart enough to know when to go, when to stay. And like I say, he's playing with two wingers there that are totally different kind of players. Gnonto cuts inside. He really likes to play in that 10 role. He's got that sort of free roam, I think, as Gnonto when he's in there. He drifts here, there, and everywhere. Like I said, Dan James mainly sticks to that right. Sometimes switches to the left, but I think it's just mainly down to Bogle, mate. I think Bogle's such an intelligent player. Started off slow, and he just knows when to go. He knows when to stay. His defensive side of game's definitely picked up to a point where now I'd say he's one of the best defensive pullbacks in the league, considering apparently we're turgid when we signed him. We're all about his attack. I think it's mainly that Bogle, to answer your question, mate. I think there's no drop-off regardless of who he plays with. And there should be, really. When he's used to playing with Dan James game after game and you get someone in with a different style, there should be a bit of it, but there just isn't. There just isn't. Whoever he's partnered with, they just click instantly. And it's been those two flanks, mate. Same with Firpo. Whoever's playing on the left-hand side with Firpo, they just click. Only time we sort of lack anything from sort of fullback side, I say, is when Sam Barham comes in, and I'm a massive Barham fan, but he isn't going to give you those overlaps and underlaps, but he's solid as well as Barham. He's one of my favourite players, is Sam Barham. I think he's so good at what he does. But when it comes to Bogle and Firpo, whoever plays with them two are that good, there's no drop-off at all for me. I don't know if that answers your question, but...
Yeah, no, it's just an interesting one. I just read an interesting take on it today. Funny enough, with Sam Byram, I actually used to date a lass when I went to Leeds University actually a long time ago, and she actually ended up dating Sam Byram, funny enough.
Really?
Yeah. So it's quite interesting. But he's, you know
Class.
what, Sam Byron's a true professional. You know, he's not a party guy. He's a really just a head down, decent fellow. Just works hard. And he had a lot of injuries, and he gave everything this year. He was always there to be called upon. I think he was reliable. He'll probably be let go, right? I can't see another year.
Probably. I'd like him to stay, mate, and just even just plays cards in background. I'm not bothered. I love him that much. But chances are, is he good enough to play on a Premier League field against some of them players? Probably not. But you've got cup games against lower oppositions and stuff. If he'd be happy to come and stay in that role, I'd have him, because he won't be on much money, I would assume, either. But maybe he wants more than that. Maybe he wants to go. I mean, he's probably on the right now, to go actually play more minutes. Now his body looks like he's holding up a bit more, Sam. Not saying he could play week in, week out. But he's probably surprised us how fit he's been over the last 2 years, as Sam Byron.
Yeah, he has. He has. We've got a lot more game time out of him. He's quite reliable. Reliable Sam. Reliable Sam. I was just going to say, the last time we were in the Premier League, what was it? We had Alioski at left back, right? So you think about it, and it works to a certain degree. So potentially, if the quality is not quite there, but it works in the system, No, some of the comments coming in are quite funny, aren't they?
Yeah, no, they are, mate. Hands up, who shed a tear of Sheffield United and the vacant 90-point trophy? Well, that's it. I think they will. They'll win the last game. They get up to 90 points. Well, just over 90 points. I think they'll be on 91 or 91 points.
Yeah, with two taken away as well. So you've got to give it to them. Yeah,
Wilder never lets us forget about them, does he? But yeah, I'll tell you what, mate. Just on standard at league this year, it's balmy. We're looking today, and obviously Sunderland in fourth. Sunderland's had a really good year by their, by where they're probably expected to be. They've dropped off of late with 21 points clear of fourth. Like, that is mental. And then beyond that, it's even. I mean, I think fourth. I think Sunderland have got a 9-point gap to fifth. So you're talking, we're about 30 points clear of fifth place. Who we played yesterday, and they've still got a potential chance of getting to Premier League. I mean, I don't think Bristol will, but don't get me wrong, they're in the conversation because they're in playoffs. That's mental. With 30 points better than someone who could potentially go up with us.
Yeah, it's crazy to think. I mean, that team we were playing last night is, Bristol City, and yet they could be in the Premier League with us next year. So look at where they're starting at, their starting position in terms of quality of the team. So we're miles ahead. We've built the foundation, like you said. I think we just got to add some real pure quality, in the right positions. But yeah, Millwall might get in.
Don't.
It could happen. It could happen.
It could, mate. Who's your tip? Who's your tip to go up in playoffs, Sam, if you had to pick one?
I do you know what? I think as much as I think Coventry with Lampard, and if they do get in on the last day, but you've got to back Sheffield United. You've got to say they've got too much quality. Come on. I know they haven't fared well like us in playoffs over the years, but I think Sheffield United will do it. I think they'll do it.
Yeah, I hope it's Sunderland, but yeah, you'd always tip the third place finish, wouldn't you? But what I will say is, unless they pick the form up, they've only got one game to go, I guess. If they can win that, they'll be going into and bouncing back-to-back wins, won't they? But yeah, usually
Sunderland's form.
Sunderland's poor. Lost last 4, they're drawn 4 losses. They're nowhere near. Sunderland won't win it. I'd like them to. Big club. I've got a lot of friends who are Sunderland fans, but it ain't going to happen, mate. Is it? It ain't going to happen.
Isn't Joe secretly a Sunderland fan?
Yeah, I think so, mate. I think so. Andy Rose says, Matty, did you get your free pint from Bamford? If only applied to pre-matches, not made of money. No, mate. I went in beforehand, but I think they all went way before. You talk about Leeds fans here. I got to pub an hour before kick-off. That $5,000 will last 5 fucking minutes, Andy. It won't have lasted 2 minutes, honestly. But no, how cool will that have been to do that? We had Pete Lowry, one of the owners, did it for the Stoke game. After they put some money behind bar, and then Bamford doing that. Is it a farewell? $5,000 behind bar? Do you think?
I think it's a good point. Do you know what I've noticed about Bamford recently as well? Like the kind of joking around, doing a bit of the comedy stuff, the act stuff. Do you think it's all kind of saying, it's time to move on? I would say
maybe. So. Do you know what it can be as well, Sam? Sometimes it can get to a point where there's not a better time to leave than now. So I even think it was Firpo. Like, you imagine now is. At the minute, a lot of people forget about the Bamford of old, the mistakes. He gets so much love in the stadium. For all the hate he's had online, at a game, away fans, home fans, he gets so much love. They always sing his song when he's warming up. And he's cost us as many points offensively as Melier has defensively at times, not putting chances away, etc. over the years. But what I will say is to leave on this high now when the fans are singing his name, he's laughing and joking, he's looking happy, he's looking fit again, which is the main thing for him. Why stay another year? I know the money and all that side of stuff, but if he stays another year and it goes bad, he's in that predicament again where if he leaves now, he can leave on a massive high and go to another club in a bit of form. He might even have suitors now based on the form of the last month.
Oh, I was thinking more MOS. I think he might, might head over to the other side of the pond. I think it'll be a great move for him and his missus, and he's got a baby, young kid.
It would.
So
I'm
yeah, I
thinking.
agree.
I'm thinking Wrexham. Me. I keep thinking Wrexham.
Really? Do you know what? It's not a bad shout. I was just going to say, you just brought something to my attention, actually, and you're right about Firpo as well, because he had such a great year. You wouldn't want to suddenly see him start to struggle in the Prem, and then we're all like, Firpo involved. And it's like, leave while you're ahead of the game. I completely agree.
That's what I think with Firpo, and obviously thinking about Bamford too. Sometimes it's the right time to leave, and at Leeds United, with Bamford and Meslier and maybe even Firpo at times, there's been opportunities maybe to go when when it were right time, and maybe not Firpo, but definitely Bamford and Meslier, and they've stayed probably longer than they should. Now is probably the best time to leave. Meslier could leave now, never make a mistake again for Leeds United, and leave with a medal around his neck. Same with Bamford, where you stay again, you're in Premier League, everything's harder. If Meslier stays, he's back in goal, even if he starts or there's an injury and something happens again, it just all implodes again, where you can leave with the best feeling you could have winning a title. So it's something I've been thinking a lot with Firpo, and I definitely think with Bamford it's potentially there. What's this? Matty, did you come across any of the Leeds United content creators at the match? So I did. I bought Paul from Leeds Therapy a pint. I met up with Eddie from Tin Can 1919, met him up, which was really nice. Didn't meet Joe Blackburn this time, but I saw him at Stoke game. And no, I just missed Joe, which is really annoying. Just missed Joe at Stoke game, and I just missed Joe for this one. But no, other than that, I think that was about it. But no,
do you get recognised a little bit now?
Sam, it's been mad, to be fair, mate, because I shouldn't. But yeah. I'd say for the last 3 or 4 times I've been on Ellen Road, I've got noticed. It's really nice. I've got a young lad who's probably watching now called Joshua, who voice notes me every day. Really, really nice lad. He's got autism like my son, so he really pulls on heartstrings. I think he's 21 years old, and we have daily voice notes with him, and he's right excited to meet me at the parade on Monday, so I'm going to meet up with him. And yeah, it's really nice, mate. This social media and stuff like this can have its bad points, but it can also be used in so much good, and it's brought me friends I never knew I needed, subscribers that are now friends, because I hate that word subscribers. We're just all friends talking about football at the end of the day. Some reason people just tune in to watch me talk about it. There's people that chat know more about it than me. So it's a really weird thing. But yeah, I've been noticed a few times. It's all been positive so far. They recognise I'm just a normal guy and just chatting football. There's no hidden agenda. I don't give a shit about anything other than just speaking my mind and being true to myself and mental health and all that stuff, getting on here and talking.
Amazing.
It's just, I love it, mate. But yeah, to answer your question, I've been noticed. It's really humbling experience, but I love it. It's the best thing I've ever done, pal. So thanks for bringing that up. Pirro, I want to know your thoughts on Pirro. So didn't score yesterday, but what a fucking pass. Kevin De Bruyne-esque. What a pass yesterday.
No, Harry Kane-esque.
Harry Kane, yeah. Honestly, last year, I don't think it fit the system. There were a lot of talk. Obviously, you watch Joe's channel. There were a lot of talk of Andrea and Lockie saying he's the wrong signing for a Farker system. When we signed him, he's not the ideal 9, and it showed it last year. This year, he's adapted his game so well to fit the system, and he drops deep at times. But when he does, he's so clever with it. And like you say, that was Harry Kane-esque, dropping deep, and he knows that. I know you want him in box because he's a great finisher, but at Leeds United this season, if he does drop deep, we've got people bombing past him. We don't always need that one man in box. There's so many people getting forward. You've got Firpo usually ahead of Pirro, which is mad. But yeah, go on, take it away. That ball yesterday, just in general, he's been outstanding.
Yeah, I think that was the icing on the cake for me, just to sum up how his performances this season, where he's come from where he was at the beginning of the season. I think the system was a little bit difficult for him at first, but I think he's found a way to play in the team. I think he's really, the way he drops deep, like you said, I think it works really well. And do you know what? I think we know his quality of finishing in the box is second to none. So you can never put it past him in there. I actually think when he was on the non-scoring run, I think it was 8 games he didn't score. He actually was a bit unlucky with a couple of those great saves pulled off by keepers. He was a little bit unlucky. But what I would say is I actually think he's going to be a gem in the Prem, because I think he's going to have a little bit more time on the ball, just a little bit of a split second to think. And I think he could cause a few teams a few problems. And I think if we play him in the right way, where he drops in, I think he could be a danger. I actually think I do. I agree, but I also think we need to go out to the market. See, this is where I'm I want to have sentimental and I believe in him. But I also know that we need so much more. So it's really, it's that fine balance.
No, I agree. I know we're going up against better centre halves, better defenders, and better goalkeepers, but I do think if he gets that chance, it's very rare does he squander chances. We've seen with Bamford over years and stuff. He does miss a lot. He doesn't miss many, Pirro. He doesn't. And there's some games that especially last season, when he's not scoring goals, he can't get in games. I think this season we've seen him. Some of the games he's had, some of his better games, he hasn't even scored goals in. You know, he's an all-round player, bringing people into play, holding the ball up. His first touch has improved. We always know he can score goals. But I honestly, I believe he can make the step up. I don't want him to be starting. No, you are right. We need to go. I want us to make a statement signing in that 9. I think 9 and 10. That's where the money's going to come in, though, isn't it? Because they're, you know, that's your expensive money. What you're going to be outlaying there. That 9 and 10. If we've got to bring in 2 star players in those roles, you're talking 30 million a player plus, maybe, for those to get someone ready-made.
Have you got any examples of, like, you know, like Kuna at Wolves, that type of player, or someone a bit more out and out?
I mean,
difficult,
look at it,
isn't it,
mate? It's so difficult. I mean, I don't want us to gamble on someone who's not proven. I think we've seen that, you know, with people in
the
past, like,
guy.
yeah, exactly. I really like him.
Isidore, Isidore, yeah.
Isidore, but I wouldn't like it if we went and spent 25 million on someone like Isidore. I think he's great, and I think he's a Premier League player in the waiting. I think we just need someone who's done it in one of the top 5 leagues. You know, I don't think whoever we get, mate, I don't think you can guarantee 20 goals when you're a newly promoted side. But if they can get in and around 15, then great. But when it comes to that position, honestly, I don't know. But what I will say is the 10 position is really interesting me with Leeds United. Are we going to go for that flair player now that I honestly crave? I crave that flair 10. I don't want to say Buendia and Hamer because we said that beginning of last year. Maybe there's someone out there, I don't know. But I want to see a creative 10 who can thread the ball on, you know, on a sixpence, thread it through eye of a needle. How are you on that 10? Is that what you would like to see from that role?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually think Peru would have had more goals. And I know he only started 35 out of 46 or whatever, but I actually think Peru would have more goals if someone, again, I'm not taking away from Aronson, but someone would just add a little bit more quality where you can put it on a sixpence for Peru with his finishing ability in the box. I actually think Peru would have got a bit more. So I think the number 10 actually will unlock a lot more for us. And I think it's just, do you know how many times you see Aronson pick up the ball, turn, go on a great run? He's got options ahead of him. He doesn't look up and he gets tackled off the ball and he falls over.
Yeah.
And just imagine if we turn 5 of those or 6 of more of those into chances and actually score from them, you know, the points will come. So I think that is actually going to be the position that's going to make or break us.
A key role.
Oh, massively. Other than the goalkeeper, obviously. To be fair, you can have a steady Eddie in goal anyway. I think genuinely, honestly, number 10, I think Peru can do a job with the quality with our wingers and wing backs bombing on.
Yeah,
I think the number 10. But who again? Like, who do you go internationally or do you go again?
All I'll say is the 49ers ain't got much wrong, have they, Sam? Every player they brought in, even Jed Spence, what at the time was a great player. We're seeing this season he's done all right. Just a situation with him and Fark or whatever his training methods. But in general, they haven't signed a player, I don't think, in his last 2 years since they've had full control that has been a poor player. I didn't really rate Kamara, but they used him as serviceable, but he sold him for more money. Everything they've done. It wasn't my cup of tea, but it was serviceable. It was sound. Technically, really good player. Just what I mean, you've seen this year with Tanaka, a bit more of a goal threat. It's an upgrade in it for less money. You know, we used him for a year, did well, and then moved him on for more money than we bought him for. Brought Tanaka in. So everything they've done business-wise has been great. So whether they get, I back them to do really well. But this is a good shout by Ian Ward, going back to that number 9. I hear Tammy Abraham's name quite a lot. I don't know what his numbers are this season. I think he hasn't had the best year, which is probably right, Sam, because if these players like Tammy Abraham have scored 30 goals this season, they're probably not linked with a newly promoted side. I know England, he'll probably want to get back to England. It's the place everybody wants to play. But Tammy Abraham is a very, very good Premier League player for a newly promoted side. And I'd have him at Modder. I don't know how you feel about it.
Yeah, good option. And do you know what? The strength, the power, the mobility up front. He scores a lot of headed goals as well. I think he could be really good. A bit of experience now. He's also done the Italian league. Yeah, I think it could be a really good signing, very intelligent signing. But you think back to this point, Matty, what was it, 5 years ago now, when we went out and got, who was the Spanish striker? Rodrigo. What was it, 30 million? And we had the option to sign the young guy who's now at Aston Villa, the young English guy from Brentford. Again,
Watkins.
You're quick. My knowledge is there, but just the names. See, Watkins would have been fantastic. Obviously, we missed that opportunity. We went for a marquee signing, but in that he was good, Rodrigo. But in essence, you know, you want someone who has a little bit more quality. I actually think we could have gone a bit better. Obviously, Rafinha was in another bracket. Like, what about a Rafinha type player?
They're out there. You know, there's a lot of players out there. I mean, Tanaka, he could be that sort of mold. You know, they're out there. It's just, have you got your scouting network right? The people behind the manager, all the people who prop the club up, you know, who are out there scouting and doing the job. I think we've got the right people there now, and there is gems out there. will we sign? I mean, these last 2 years, we've actually signed people we know. Like, it's been, I remember going back 4, 5, 6 years, we'd signed people I've never heard of, So it's been quite nice to know we've been signing people relevant to the level we're at, who are ready to go now, like a Rothwell, ready to go now. With Jaden Bogle, we've signed people. Rodon, we've had some great business. I wouldn't be surprised if we do to get better value for money if we go into European markets and look at people like that. Ramazani, for the talent he's got. I mean, I don't know how much he was, 11, 12 million. Someone in chat will probably tell me.
It wasn't too much.
Wasn't
might
much.
Have been 16.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, he might not have hit what that his potential.
It was 9 million. I think it was only 9 million.
There you go. Look at the talent he's got. Is he proven in Prem? No, but he's sort of proven in Spain. He's done it over there in the top league. So there is gems out there. It's just, do they know where to get them? And I think they do, mate. I think everything about the club now, I'm sure you'll agree, looks Premier League, and that's behind the squad. We didn't probably even have the squad last time we got promoted. It was Marcelo, but behind Marcelo, we didn't know it was League One level really. There are a couple of men operating now. There's a whole operation going on with so many people in right positions, and we're just heading the right way out with Paul. Everything looks Premier League now.
Yeah, it's a really exciting journey. I think I messaged you today about how it's now really, it begins, right? And I think the foundations have been set. I think you saw today as well, there are quite a few promotions from the CEO positions and CFOs. So a lot of trust put into names of people that have been at the club for quite a while now, proven. It's really exciting time, really exciting. Always, we're going to touch on the stadium as well. Yeah, it's super exciting, but I think this summer's it is massive. It's a bigger summer than when we were under Bielsa. Bielsa was one in a million. So this is a bigger summer, and obviously does Farke stay?
Yeah. I mean, we'll touch on that. Like I say, I've been quite big on this channel. I've not been too negative because it's been shit that in a promotion week this chat even comes up. And I thought we'd put it to bed a few days ago, and then it sort of reared its ugly head again the day before yesterday. And I don't really understand it. I mean, I think Farke's got faults. I think my wife's got faults, but I'm still married to her. Everyone's got faults, haven't they, Sam?
My girlfriend's got faults.
Exactly. Everyone's got faults. I can say that because she won't watch this, but everyone's got faults, mate, right?
Same.
And I think in the Premier League, these minor faults at this level, which have only been minor. I mean, we've lost 4 games all season, remarkable year. These will be amplified, and these faults, I think the problem with his subs and his rotations and this and that, they'll be amplified and they'll look bigger in the Premier League. But ultimately, you deserve a chance in life when you hit your goals. You should get given more goals to go hit. And ultimately, he's good enough with what I've seen the last 2 years to stay in the Premier League, which, as hard as it sounds, because one of those clubs that have to go down, we've already spoke about, is it likely he could do it? I think he can. So, I mean, what's your take on it?
Yeah, I think the only difference is I would say that the Premier League's become a different beast right now. So I think it's a harder league. The gap between the teams coming up now, as we know, is massive. I think with a bit of backing, I think he has proven himself this year to be the manager that can lead us into the Premier League. And I do believe he's the manager that can keep us up in the Premier League. Now, in terms of the 5-year plan and where we want to be in terms of pushing Europe, I couldn't give you that answer. I don't have a crystal ball, nor does anyone, nor do the owners. But I think, you know what, you back the man now, you put the plans in place and we make it happen. And I think, if we get going early, put these rumours to bed, like you said, start planning for next year. And I think it should set us up for success and be able to stay up. It's not going to be easy. We're not going to have performances like we've had this year. But I think, like I said, I think if the club play their cards right and we play it right with I wish Bielsa, with Farke, I think we should leave us in a good stead. But you can't compare it to the Bielsa period. It was a 1 in a million lifetime of something we'll never experience again. It really was.
It really was. I mean, if you actually took away the Bielsa period, I know we don't want to, but Farke would be the best manager since O'Leary. Like in the last 20 years, he would be the best. I mean, this football we're seeing now, the points we're getting, the goal, it's actually better than what Bielsa had. Yes, there's all that talking points for this side is probably way better than, technically way better than what Bielsa had, but the stats don't lie. And if I'm honest, the eye test don't lie for the draws. If I lost my head, after Swansea draw, QPR draw, Luton, I was pulling my bloody hair out. You probably saw my meltdowns. I thought we were throwing it away. I won't lie. Only 3-4 weeks ago. But over the 2 whole years, I've gone to work on a Monday morning bouncing after the weekend because 9 times out of 10 we get the win, and 90 points, 100 points, 190 points in 2 seasons. It's a phenomenal run. And for anyone in any line of work to be suggesting that you should be losing your job when you've hit your targets, not only hit your targets, smashed them out of fucking park. I'm chuffed for him to have seen yesterday at the stadium, mate. Him, fans chanting his name. He hadn't had a song. It wasn't really a song. It was just Daniel Farke. But for him to get that recognition, because he'll have felt it. they're not stupid. They read media. They'll see it. They'll hate it. And for him to get what he got in stadium yesterday, honestly, mate, it was quite emotional to see him get that sort of accolade and that shot in arm from fans of say, we've got your back. No matter what anyone's saying, 49ers sack you, we've got your back. And I was really surprised to see how enhanced that was yesterday. It was phenomenal, and I was so made up for him, mate, because he's probably jabbing out and he needed it really after a really good week. But also, it must have been tinged with a little bit of sadness with all this shit in such an important week, such a monumental week in his career, to be having to answer questions at press conferences instead of it just being all let's celebrate and let's talk about the good time. For him to actually have to address stuff like this in media, it can't have been a nice week as well for him,
Yeah, everything you said, I completely agree with, Matt. And you being there as well, you felt it. But I'll tell you why I felt it at home as well. I loved it when he got soaked in the champagne and you could see the joy. And I just love the connection he's tried to build with the fans. And he's brought unity to the club. You can't disagree with it. He's brought unity on the field and off the field. And also, we haven't touched on it, the chaos at the beginning of last season when players were going left, right, and centre, and he had to still stick with the plan of action. You've got to give it to the guy. Look, no one will ever know if he'll be good enough for Premier League, but you've got to give him the chance. I was going to ask you, Matty, just on this. Do we see a painting of him in Leeds, like on one of the buildings, like Bielsa? Do we go to that level? I mean, it's like you said, it's a record season, 97 points.
It's a mad one, mate, because before yesterday I said no, because I don't feel like the fans have any sort of emotional attachment to Farke. I just don't. Obviously, with Bielsa, it's always going to be different. But after yesterday, I don't know, it felt special yesterday, like really, really special, the way the fans were with Farke. I mean, I don't know if there'll be a mural for anyone now. I'm not too sure that we've got any walls left after Bielsa there, mate. Like everywhere I turn, he leads is a picture of someone, but I don't know. It's hard to not want to give him those sort of accolades and that sort of appreciation as a fan, because, I mean, like I say, I've got my gripes with him not playing Ramazani, subs late. There's a lot of bits that annoy me, but overall, I can't really fault him.
Done.
It's job done, and we move on. And I just hope the chat stops now. And obviously, when something gets put out there, people start, tweeting it. People content creators start talking about it. Other aggregate sites jump on it. All of a sudden, a couple of posts, it ends up being this big snowball of media storm that it's been last week. Yeah, I know you do, buddy. Yeah. We'll definitely get into that at some point in another stream, because I'll be having you on, don't you, buddy? But it's mad how it can sort of snowball, and people talk about Jose Mourinho. It's been a mad week out of all the highs, ups and downs, as we say. This week in a promotion week, it's had a little bit of everything. But swiftly moving on, because I really, really want to get in there. Obviously, yesterday was just a phenomenal day for everything, the result. But just going to play this video where everyone's already seen, but just looking at the stadium developments. Just want to play this little video, because this yesterday, mate, just talk me through it, buddy. What you're thinking when you see this?
With the music on as well, emotional.
Oh man.
So, I got to tell you, mate. I mean, I don't know if the music plays, but I mean, I've never. I couldn't. It's like, everything you imagine and dream of suddenly coming to life. Like all these years of pain and hearing about plans under Ken Bates, even the original plan with the casino. I don't know if you remember this.
Yeah, I do, mate.
Years
I
ago.
do.
So this is, and I still. Do you know what? Sometimes I Google that plan. Sometimes I have a look at it and go, "Oh, what can we do now to make it better?" And this blew me out of the. I mean, I'm never, honestly, incredible. And we talk about architecturally as well, the way it brings the kind of the history. It's got that kind of feel of history. It doesn't take away from Ellen Road, but it's also modern. It's also class. The only thing I would say is, mate, I don't know. See this on the. I think it's is it the East Stand there?
Yeah.
The kind of cantilever. That would probably need a bit of updating, because the kind of the way it slopes in. I would love to see that kind of mirror the new the East Stand, right?
Yeah.
Kind of, I think it could do something there to kind of bring that up a level as well. But my goodness, I mean, can you imagine? I did hear. What's your thoughts, Matty, about the Kop being a 2-tier and not a 1-tier? Actually, out of interest,
mate. Well, it's a lively stand, mate. So if they can, whatever they do with it, like I say, the thought of having 2 tiers that bring that atmospheric noise that the Kop do, because obviously they can't do not with South Stand, and there's some absolute nutters in there. I love it. That is such a loud stand in South Stand's class, but they can't touch on with that. They can neaten it up, give it a lick of paint, freshen it up, bring it to the same level as these, but they can't do what with it. But that Kop, to think of having that level of noise that the Kop brings times 2, if they can get it right, is just unreal. I mean, looking at that image there, mate, it still looks like Ellen Road, just with a body kit on, just with an uplift. That's what I like. It doesn't look out of place. Obviously the fact they can't do it with the South Stand, it looks like Ellen Road still, probably for that reason. And
But
yeah,
do you think, Matty, they wouldn't be investing in Ellen Road if they never thought that there was the potential to do something with the South Stand? So there must be, to build a bridge and have the cars going under. I think that's what
hopefully,
I've read somewhere, something like that. Yeah,
hopefully. I mean, it's just going to take everything up to the next level. Obviously, the atmosphere is the one thing you don't want to lose. But we're all mad from Leeds. You know, you stick another 18, 19,000 of us in there. Surely, I mean, I know a lot of them are going to be hospitality, which has had a little bit of stick, but I suppose that's where money is. You know, I think I'm 24,000 from season ticket waiting list, Sam. So when I heard of this extension, I was buzzing, but I think it'll probably only knock about me down 5,000 or 6,000 spots. So I'm probably never going to get a season ticket, mate. But it is what it is. I'll just keep on being a queuing member, but. Just really exciting. I mean, obviously gaining promotion against Stoke, it meant they could bring this news out on game day yesterday. I'm assuming if it wouldn't have been promoted, I don't think they'd have brought it out yet. But it just made yesterday even more special to sort of get that through the day, leading into the game. It just enhanced the day. But what I will say is, something like this, I've heard people say, does that mean they won't have much money for players and stuff, putting all this money into stadium? It's bigger than that, you know. It's not just a case of we spend on stadium, won't spend on players. They have to spend on players because the squad has to emulate the stadium has to emulate the squad. It's all got to be top level, because if we drop down to Championship, it doesn't matter how good your stadium is. So it's all got to go hand in hand, and they don't spend money on stadium, they don't improve the facilities at training ground, everything they're saying, if they're not envisaging Leeds not only being a Premier League side, but pushing up that fucking table as well, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. It goes hand in hand, like you said.
Of course it does.
They're no mugs. They're a proper, you know, look at the job they've done with the team out there in the States. I mean, the stadium there is phenomenal, and the team also got to a Super Bowl final. So you can see there how it goes hand in hand. Like, it completely eliminates this, and also the money that it will revenue-wise as well per game. You know, you're looking at millions more pounds in revenue, 100%. So that goes back into the team. It's an ecosystem of money. I think we're on the right path. And if anyone has any issues with this, I'm sorry, but you're not a Leeds fan, because this is the day we've been dreaming of: promotion, stadium plans. I mean, come on, it's honestly 97 points. I don't think we really can sit here and say and have any negatives. Maybe Farke could have been a bit better with his subs over the season. Maybe the owners could have been given a bit more clarity in terms of certain things. But we're finally back on the road. Honestly, I think everyone here who's watching, like, we are back. We're back, baby. I'm so excited.
Honestly, mate, it's one of them. Some of us, like, we just like to moan and fight doom and gloom in it, which it's never too far away from biting us and arse as a Leeds fan, as we know. The ups are never there for too long before the down comes and gets us. But like I say, everything we've been hoping and dreaming for as a Leeds fan feels like it's in touching distance now, and you know, hopefully the stadium gets done. Not sharpish, but get started pretty sharpish. They're going to build over the top, I think, mate. That's the idea. They build over the top, so you don't have a reduced capacity for long, if at all. They did it at Anfield, they did it at Fulham, didn't they?
Is it both stands at once, or is it just the one to start with?
To be fair, I actually don't know that detail, mate. I don't know.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to find out.
Yeah, it will, mate. But the idea, I think, with the West Stand is they'll build up and over. They'll make that top tier, and then knock through into bottom tier, and then hopefully have it done for when the season starts. I think probably not next season after. But then if it's not quite done, the capacity can move to the top while the bottom gets finished. So you'll never end up with anything less than what they've probably got now in terms of capacity, which going back 15, 20 years, you'd have lost a full stand to build a new stand. And the way architecture is these days, modern football, you know, a lot more money to spend, I'm sure it's, I mean, how much is it costing this? I haven't seen the figures, but I'm assuming it's absolutely...
They haven't announced anything. Yeah, they haven't announced
massive, but the way they can do it and still keep the stadium full is it's going to be class. I honestly cannot wait for this exciting new chapter. I want to get your take on something that's not a big deal, but it's quite funny on this channel because I lost my shit getting knocked out of FA Cup to Millwall. So when will, as a Leeds United fan, it be okay to have an FA Cup run? Because we weren't allowed an FA Cup run this year, Sam, because promotion more important. Fair enough. Will we be allowed to promote an FA Cup run next year? Or will it be we need a state league? When are we ever allowed an FA Cup run? I want an FA Cup run, pal.
Well, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to throw a question right back at you then. Go on. So, would you have taken winning the FA Cup this year for not a promotion?
Oh, what are you saying that for? Why come
or would you want to... Or, okay, all right, I'll go around it another way then. Would you rather stay in the Premier League next year or win the FA Cup and go down?
Fucking hell. It's a madness, mate, isn't it?
You see where I'm coming from, right?
Honestly, it's so hard, is that?
I think the ambition, I think you just go out to win. I think no matter what, you go out to win games.
Yeah, you do, 100%. I had say one of the lads over yesterday, mate, said to me because a lot of diehard Leeds fans who I go to games with, like, I went in North East Corner yesterday, and they all that badge on, they all that Stone Island badge on, you know, one of them, and they were like
Yeah.
proper hardcore fans. It's funny, but they were like, I want a state championship, me. But can't we just put the Conference League, the European Conference League? Can't we put that championship level? We'll just stay in championship every year and play in Europe. That's what we want as Leeds fans. State championship, none of that shit with all corporate stuff in Premier League. But give us Europe. Make a European competition in second tier. And I'm like, wow, I've never thought of it like that. But he were buzzing for that with my mate Glenn. I went, nah, it's never going to cut on, mate. But it's mad how some people think. A lot of people don't want to play in the Premier League, as what I see as, you know, when I go to the games when in the ground. A lot of people aren't looking forward to it. I'm the opposite. I'm excited by it. I'm excited by the prospect of, you know, seeing these players come to Welling Road, your Haalands and that again. I know we had it a few years ago, but I'm excited to be mixing it with these people again. When a lot of people, honestly, there's a lot of fear in the people I talk to on game day and stuff. There's a lot of people worried about it just being miserable every game. But you've got to aim high. You've got to, ultimately, mate, you stay in this division, you get diluted down, you end up being shy like a Norwich, like a Stoke. You end up then, you know, trying to survive from League One. You've only got a maximum really as a relegated side. I think it's about 2 years to get out of this division, or you're here for the long haul, aren't you, buddy?
Yeah, parachute payments are massive, right? And we know how the monopoly of the game works now. But I think we've got to be up there. You know, come on, we want us back in Europe. Come on, we want the big old glory days back. So, I mean, I grew up with the early 2000s and the Vidukas and we'll not mention his name, but Smith and Eric Bakker I used to watch, and Lucas and Gary. You know, that team, I love the kit, everything. We're on our way back. And I think the only way to get back to that area is what we're doing. So we can stay in the championship. We can enjoy winning most games, but ultimately, you know, the big prizes in football are up in the Premier League, and that's where we belong.
Naming those players there, mate, you grew up watching. It was easy to fall back. It was easy to fall in love with Leeds.
Who was your favourite?
Probably Viduka.
Oh, class.
Viduka. But the
4-3 Liverpool, right?
The two I always say are Viduka and Decor. They were my best two players. I mean, I love David Batty as well, but Decor in midfield and Viduka for me were the two I had on my shirts. There were two I had
Bowyer as well.
Oh, man.
Batty, Bowyer.
They were all good.
The options, the centre backs, Woodgate, even like third and that. I know, it's insane, isn't it?
It's class, mate. It's
Ian Hart.
You just dream, don't you, that we'll have we'll be back up there again with these sort of talented players in there. But yeah, it was such a great time, mate, as a kid. And then we've missed generations. You know, my son was 15, buying him a Real Madrid or Barcelona kit every Christmas. I bought him a Leeds kit, didn't want to wear it, you know, first up until the last 3 or 4 years, obviously. No, seeing kids walk around Leeds, no one wearing Leeds shirts for a long time. For that, like 20 years, it weren't like it is now. Now you go shopping and everyone's got Leeds kits on, and City's been bouncing ever since Bielsa. And, you know, a lot of fans give a stick saying, oh, you won't selling your stadium out when you're in League One. No, but we still have 20, 23, 24,000 in League One. What do you want from us? Like, we're still there. It's just, I don't think you can expect to sell 37,000 seats in League One. But as a city, since Marcelo come in, everything's just changed. Like I say, there's shirts everywhere. The kids who weren't asked are now following Leeds, and it's just got a kick on effect. Now you've got people like Harry Great, 16-year-old playing for Leeds United. It all got to start at that age, haven't they? And find a love for it and filter their way through, hopefully, to our first team, because that's what we want as Leeds fans as well. You know, like we had with Alan Smith and people at the time. We want some homegrown players coming through that are good enough to play in Premier League for Leeds United and good enough to stay at Leeds United. That's the dream, isn't it? To have local. That's the dream.
Yeah, absolutely. We've always been known for having a great academy over the years. So, like, you know, these are the things, like you said, being in the FA Cup, going on FA Cup runs. This is what it's about. It's not all about, you know, being number one. You know, it's about going through the ups and the downs and having the raw talent, the crowd.
Could you imagine that, Sam? Can you imagine that, Sam? Real Barca, Milan coming to Welling Road. Like, it's mad. It feels like a different club, mate. Thinking back then, it's that long ago. It feels like it wasn't even us, but it was.
It's insane.
Yeah, no, it really is. My idol will always be Eddie Gray. No one has or will surpass. I love that, Kevin.
Yeah, legend.
How good was it watching him in stadium? You know, I think when it Stoke, when he were close to tears as well, but watching his great nephew come on in Eddie Gray, like, it's just, honestly, what club's got that sort of dynasty in a name? It's just transcended through generation after generation of Grays. It's so touching.
Yeah, well, a couple of stories about him. First of all, my dad brought me a tape with the original Leeds United. I can't remember the name of it, and it had the Ole where we scored the most. We passed it the most times with that guy. It was a very famous goal. So that was the original reason why I became a Leeds fan, because my dad. I used to watch this videotape over and over again. And then I was in the car park at Southampton away, and Eddie Gray was literally walking past our car, and I got a picture with him, and like it was just one of those moments. He was such a nice guy. He was the assistant manager at the time, funnily enough. So yeah, met the guy, legend, absolute walking legend.
I'll say
I love it.
Yeah, so good. Mate, did you see Gray with a scarf around his head banging the flair about? I didn't, mate, no, but Brookie sent me that clip, mate. I'd like to watch it. Bradford City get 18k in League Two. Yeah, they do, mate. Ain't not bad going at all. Let me see. Some of the chats I started.
Peter Lorimer, yeah, another one. Yeah, my dad loves him.
Unbelievable. This is a one for you, mate. What Danny said earlier. How much do you know about Elvedi? I'd love him at Leeds.
Is he the centre back? If the Czech, is he like Russian or something? Played in Russia?
Yeah,
am I wrong?
Think so. I think it's Burnley. It's Burnley currently, isn't it? Burnley.
Oh, is he the centre back at Burnley? Yeah,
Burnley. Yeah, outstanding. But the problem is Burnley have come up. Probably means we won't go for him. But he's the one I would say who's probably stand out this season. That centre half. I'd love Elvedi.
I watched him against Sheffield United. Unbelievable. He was
so good.
Yeah.
Rob Brookie, please tell me we don't keep Bamford. Okay, great guy, but time for a fresh start. Squad wise, yeah, I agree with that one, buddy. I think you do too, don't you, buddy? I think 20 million for Solomon. I'd say 10 to 12. I don't think it's gonna be that much. I think it'll be a lot more than that, buddy.
This is that last summer.
This is one I don't agree with from Ian Ward earlier. Ramazani was not ready. He is now. A lot of people are saying that because when he don't get played and then he comes on and gets a couple of goals, it's easy to say, well, look, he's played it right. But for me, I do disagree with you on that one, Ian. I do. I look at it from the point of look what he can do, look what he could have done. If he'd have played
and his ceiling
that's how I see it. Yeah.
It's high. Potential is very high.
So I see. Danny, I don't think Nonto will be here at the start of next season. I think that's a wild one. I think when you consider, Sam, the turbulent times he's had at Leeds United and he stayed, I can't see him staying now when you look how happy he looks. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I think the smile on his face said it all for me at the end. Yeah, I think it will be very different. And also, what's he worth? What did we pay? 4 million for him? How much is he worth?
Yeah,
who's going to pay the money for him? You know.
Yeah, well, that's it. Whenever he's been talking about going before, we've always been saying we wanted 30 plus for him, and I think he stays at Leeds 100%. What's this one? I chatted with my old workmate the other day. He's a Liverpool fan, and from his assumption, he said we are not far off a good EPL team with the squad we've got. I mean, I disagree with that, Michael. I mean, maybe it's easy to watch Leeds play and blow these teams away and think, we're so much better than most sides, well, every side in the division really, what we've been playing in. But I think when we do go up there, I think if we want to play with this side we've got now, Sam, and I'm a massive optimist, I think we get relegated if we didn't make a signing. With that side, we would come down.
Yeah. Unless
I would suggest. yeah, unless you have someone turning wine to it. I think with that side, we know players brought in. I'm not saying we'd finish bottom. I'm not saying we wouldn't challenge sides, and we might have some scouts, but I don't think we'd get enough points with that side, if I'm honest. Yeah, I think we definitely need to, like say, you actually go as far as say major surgery, don't you, Sam? That's how you feel about it.
Because I see 6 or 7 stars needed. 5 or 6. If you want to go a little bit less, 5 to 6. But it's going to be interesting.
No, 100%. A quick one from Lee. Are there any tickets left for the Creators Cup? Do you know about the Creators Cup? Have you seen out about it?
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. I think it's great little. Are you playing?
Yeah, I'm playing, mate. Yeah,
you've been drafted in, yeah.
Yeah, I got up front.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Nice.
I need to get fit though, mate. When I messaging you about doing this, you're telling me in gym, and I'm sat there eating my tea, thinking, "Chuffing, I need to get fit for this."
Yeah, my missus. Honestly, when you get a missus, you just
yeah, mate. That's it. When I met my missus, mate, I was at peak form for me. I lost about 5 stone, and I was the best I've ever been in my life. And then, 7 years later, mate. Yeah, all big time, mate. But I'm really looking forward to this Creators Cup. And yes, there is tickets still available, Lee. I think the capacity is about 2,500, I think, but I don't know if they've got that many tickets, but there's still plenty available. I don't even think they've sold half yet, but I think they've sold a couple of hundred, which is pretty good. The thought of playing in front of 200 to 1,000 fans, depending who goes, it's quite a surreal moment, on a decent pitch with a stand. It's closest I've ever been in professional football. It's class.
Yeah,
they've got a real production team as well for it, Sam. They've spent money, they've got sponsors that pay for production team. We're having interviews at half time, and it's going to be really surreal. Stream live on YouTube, so it'll be good. There'll be some.
Get your tickets.
Oh, get your tickets, yeah, too right. Matty, will you be doing a watch along for the Plymouth game? No, I won't be. I'll just be enjoying it like you guys. With a stadium expansion, would an underground car park be a practicality? I'd like to think they're going to put some more form of parking in. By the looks of the images, it's going to be.
You can see, there's a lot of parking.
Yeah, it needs it. I mean, when you go to Welland Road, how do you go by? Do you park in centre? Do you stay centre and walk in?
Oh my God! So We get the train in, and then it's the mad. You come out the station, and there's where the taxi rank. It's either they get the taxi. Sometimes you go, do you know what? Screw it. We walk the whole way.
Yeah.
We've had times where we've walked in and we missed the start. It's a nightmare. Absolute nightmare.
No, it really is. I mean, I park up at Dragon and walk down, and I quite like that walk to the stadium. It gets you in mood for it. But it's a nightmare on match days now. Like the traffic, honestly, it's a killer. It's traffic. Yeah,
even in League One, the roundabout outside, it was always a nightmare.
No, exactly. So, like I say, it's all got to be encompassed into not just the stadium, everything around it's got to be brought up as well at that level. And there's talk of trams and all sorts. I think they've got it all. They've got it all. Bang on. I do feel we are going to go for a goalkeeper personally. Won't go for a goalkeeper. Well, we are going to go for a goalkeeper. Who would you have it in terms of goalkeeper? I've heard Nick Pope, Kelleher from Liverpool. These are obviously all suggestions. Anyone you fancy?
Yeah, Kelleher for me. I think he's class. I think he's absolutely phenomenal. The way he steps in for Liverpool. Liverpool, come on, guys. Liverpool.
I know.
I think Kelleher would be great. I think Pope's a little bit. His kicking's a bit naff for me.
But you'd have him over what we've had previous, surely.
I'd have him over, of course. But I actually really liked. Is it Trafford and the other guy? But yeah, the two Sheffield United and Burnley guys.
I forgot his name now. No, they are. I mean, if Sheffield United don't go up, is it Cooper?
Cooper, yeah.
If they don't go up, I'd have a look.
Well, Burnley are up. Cooper.
Yeah.
Cooper or Kelleher would be fantastic. I don't like the Johnston. I don't like Johnston. And I think One Leeds or whatever, he's saying that it's Johnston.
I hope not. Sure. We've been linked to him, haven't we? Quite a lot of years. And
I'm not keen.
Yeah, me neither. He's the one been at West Brom before. I don't know where he is now. And Sam Johnston has been around forever, hasn't he? But Kelleher for me, a big class.
What about the Italian guy we had a few years back? Apparently he's decent now. In Italy.
What's his name?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm really not trying to catch you out.
No. He's on tip of my tongue as well, but no, he is.
Yeah,
I think it'd be good to see. But we had him, didn't we? He didn't play many games for us. And he's
anyone in chat?
Well. Remember we had Marco Silvestri, but there were another guy.
No, it was Silvestri.
Silvestri's had a good. I think he's doing all right. But there were another guy. There were another guy under him who was actually doing even better, but he didn't play many games.
Do you remember Beluski at centre back? And who was the Brazilian wizard, little kid?
Adrian, who looked about 10.
Over the years.
Look where we are now.
I know.
Look where we are now. That's what we're talking about. I mean, Adrian makes Aronson look like a world beater. When you
who was the Warnock winger? The guy he stamped
Jimmy
on
Kebe.
Oh no. Yeah, there was Kebe in it.
Habib Boo Boo.
Boo Boo.
There was a video clip of him online before we signed. I tried looking for a compilation video of his talent, and all I could find was him picking a pigeon off a pitch or something like that, or try to kick a pigeon off a pitch. That was his highlight reel.
We used to love these sort of players. But yeah, someone in the chat just said Capriel. Capriel is supposed to be doing really well.
Capriel, yeah, that's the one. Yeah. Well done, Danny. That's the one who's actually having a really good career. Jason Steele from Brighton says, Nige, he's someone who a few years ago sort of lost his way a little bit. I remember watching Sunderland documentary a fair few years ago, and he was struggling. But he was Brighton's number one on the last season. He's done all right as Jason Steele. He'd be all right, but yeah, whenever Kelleher's available, not available, but around and his second fiddle, he's the one everyone's eyes are on. But for me, he's potentially a world class in the waiting, so maybe he's out of reach.
I agree.
If you're Liverpool, you're keeping him, aren't you? Thinking, he'll
want game time now. I think, he'll want game time.
How long's he got a second fiddle there? Do you reckon still a couple of years behind?
Yeah, 60 million signing in front of him, Brazilian number one.
Yeah, not true. Leeds is on the rise, 100%. Dragon Hotel is a nice pub, not far from where I live. Do good meals also. Thanks for that info, mate. Look at that. Have you seen my mate Priestley on stream, mate? Priestley looks so different with the lights on. My mate Priestley, honestly. I was going to say Sam's probably the most attractive guy I've had on this channel after Adam Priestley. No, you're second to Adam Priestley, mate. Anyone in chat? Mate, it's funny. He's my best mate, Priestley. And every stream I do with him, mate, you were saying beforehand, weren't you, about not got a mic and that. I'm like, honestly, my mate Priestley doesn't even turn lights on, Sam. He just sits in dark, and I'm like, Priestley, will you sit up? Will you turn your lights on? He's just like, shut up, no, I'll do what I want. Because he's my best mate. He's like my brother. He sort of has me over a barrel, really, and he can do what he wants to me, and I love him anyway. But yeah, it's nice. It's nice to see. It's nice to see you've got your lights on, and that's funny. But yeah, I think we'll leave it at that, buddy. It's been a cracker. Did Priestley?
Yeah, I've enjoyed that.
You enjoy it, mate? Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. But also just talking Leeds, for me, it's it's everything, I wake up and the first thing I do, I look at the table. I'm always constantly on X looking at what's the latest news. It's just in between work, you're just constantly thinking about Leeds, aren't you? I don't know if you're probably the same. It's a constant thing. And then you get to the international breaks and you're just like, oh, God.
And now we've got to wait all summer, which is a pain in the arse, which is...
But it'll be exciting summer.
Yeah,
it'll be exciting summer. Hopefully it'll be exciting. So, no, I really appreciate you having on. And honestly, everyone who's watching this guy, honestly, he's a great guy. He understands humanity and he's a real Leeds fan. He's a gem of a guy. And yeah, hopefully I'll come up to Leeds and we'll get to a game at some point. So 100%. I appreciate you having me on. Yeah, 100%. I appreciate it.
Get to a game or two next season, I hope, mate. It'd be really good to do that, bud. Yeah. Lee, cheers, lads. Top class. Thank you so much. Hope everyone's enjoyed having Sam on. We'll definitely be on again. And we'll have you on for an ups and downs episode as well in the pre-season. We'll chat about other stuff outside football, if that's all right with you, buddy.
Yeah, I love that. I'm open to it. Let's do it.
Legend. Thanks a lot, buddy. Right, everyone, take care. Please smash a like. Please subscribe. Please take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon. Thank you very much.
Leeds.